the Loud Minorites Podcast, where we cover the latest developments in culture, sports, and politics with some loud progressive minorities. What's going on, ODL?
How y'all doing? Man, it's a delightful day down here in Los Angeles, and yeah, I'm excited to talk to y'all today. What's up, Chadwick? How you doing?
Hey man, another beautiful day in Sacramento. Springtime really hitting. I'm sneezing and sniffling. Oh my goodness, fighting for my life. Other than that, I love to see the sunny days.
Hey, if you like that, man, it's rough times out here. The allergy season beating people ass. And
Man,
speaking of ass whoopings, we got the NBA playoffs.
It's
Oklahoma City Thunder.
We all know what happened
gosh, bro. We
over
talking
in
about
OKC.
ass.
Bro, we talking about the Tulsa massacre.
So first,
I thought we got rid of public
about
floggings.
the NBA playoffs, and
I thought
we'll just talk about the most aggressive loss in NBA history. At one point, it was a 50-point lead from the OKC Thunder over the Grizzlies. Sorry, it was about 60 points at one point. The Grizzlies were able to fight back to only lose by 51 points, the greatest margin of victory in the first round, in the game one in NBA history. No team, no playoff team has ever lost by 51 points in a game. Considering the theme of Memphis's whoop that trick, it seems like the sentiment got flipped on them. I don't know, Dubrea. I remember hitting you up during the game. You were disappointed, to say the least, in the performance of the Memphis Grizzlies.
I mean, out here, the way they was out there, John needed the weapon. Like, that was the only way they were going to stop those people. Because, no, it was so bad that, like, they didn't hit 50 until, like, the third quarter or something crazy like that. Like, the Grizzlies didn't score 50. Like, the offense is crazy, right? That's the amazing point. The defense that the Oklahoma City Thunder, like, the level of locked and clamped up. They were like, Tyree, like, I'm locked up. They won't let me out. That was the Grizzlies. Like, they didn't get to 50 points until, like, I think the third quarter. What?
Yeah.
In an NBA
man,
game?
the torture chamber is real.
Yeah. Crazy work.
Yeah.
OKC and 4. Move on.
Yeah, I was about to ask what's your prediction for the series? Y'all think it's a sweep already?
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to overreact and say it's going to be a sweep, but I don't see any evidence otherwise. If anything, I feel more vindicated about OKC making it out of the West. Like, they have shown everything in fold.
I mean, they are beating the allegations using the dead bodies of the Memphis Grizzlies. They're saying we're gonna take out every ounce of frustration at the fact that we are like fake contenders, and we're gonna take all that out on you. It's actually criminal.
One thing I did learn from the game is, unsurprising, OKC has been my pick to make the finals out of the West since the beginning of the season. I've been full on Shea being the MVP. Shout out to Jokic and everyone else. But again, I want to remind people, this is a 68-win team. I have no idea why the national media minimized it so much. We almost never see 68-win teams, almost 70-win teams in the NBA. With multiple injuries, Chet Holmgren, one of their star players, missing almost months of the season. J-Dub was out. Most other players were out. This is a fully healthy team that already has playoff experience, the most valuable player coming off a 68-win season. I'm not surprised they won with this margin, considering the Grizzlies just fired their coach. Like Dubrea was saying with the defense, the Grizzlies look lost out there. They had no sort of unity.
Lost and afraid.
You could tell their spirit got broken by halftime. They weren't playing with that energy. They were letting people blow by them. And that's just a mental loss at that point. And that comes down to coaching. At some point,
there were several plays where it was 3-on-1. Like, there was no effort for them to go back on defense at the end.
Yeah.
None. They are completely cooked. Edie, even though he's a rookie, the deer in headlights and being exploited on defense is showing. I hate to say it because, again and again, he's a rookie. Complete detriment to the Memphis Grizzlies at the moment. Needs to step up, but at the same time, it's like, how much can you ask of a rookie in their first playoff series?
He's over. His rookie year was fantastic for a rookie year, for a center, and for him to have gotten hurt.
Great season.
The Grizzlies aren't a good basketball team. They're not a great basketball team. Also, the reason that they didn't want to talk about the winning 68 games is because they wanted to give the MVP to that plumber over in Denver. plumber built. He's fantastic, but he's built like a plumber.
I will say that I think if anything that kind of runs counter to that, because in this game, Shea did not have a good game. Like, he was inefficient from the field, and they still dog walked this team. So if anything, this shows the high elevated play of the OKC that wasn't as reliant on Shea. But on the flip side, Denver, they are nothing. They're literally the worst team in the league if Jokic is not on the court. Like, look at the on offense.
I don't know about worst, but one of
the worst. Yeah, they're not the worst.
One of.
I mean,
exactly.
We still have the Charlotte Hornets out there, man.
Yeah, we do. We can't.
Put some respect on the Washington Wizards and the Utah Jazz.
I will put more respect on the Washington Wizards than the bench of the Denver Nuggets.
We will respect. We will put some. We can't go without disrespecting Michael Jordan as an owner. One of the worst owners, awful owner. I mean, also, bro, the Suns missed the playoffs, dog. They asked.
Oh my goodness.
Suns. They're ass. Okay, next team.
Playoffs.
Let's talk about teams that are in the playoffs.
Let's the next matchup. Because, like, okay, this match is over, but I'm actually really interested in what's going to happen with the Rockets and the Warriors. Now, that is really interesting. That was a rock fight, man. Like, I don't think I've seen this low scoring of a game in, like, the last 6 years in the playoff. Neither of them broke 100 in the first game. Yeah. And Amen Thompson, he seems too small for the moment. Curry, Draymond, with Jimmy Butler, the tween demons on defense. I loved it.
Curry needs to, like, thank goodness we're not in Salem because he'd be tried for being a witch. Curry is doing devil magic out there, and I love it. There was one where he literally got punched in the stomach as he's shooting it. Nothing but net. What are we doing?
It's just because the inexperience is showing. There's a reason why it's the Warriors traded for Jimmy, and everyone's like, oh my God, they'll have thinner bench depth. It's the veteran experience matters. You saw the Warriors were out-rebounded. They didn't have size, and they don't have as much depth as the Rockets. Didn't matter. Yeah. And many of the offensive performances from the Warriors, they had open shots. They were able to generate looks, and they lost on the offensive boards, and I believe that the defensive boards too.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. Şengün on the Rockets showed up, but one of the shortcomings of the Rockets that we've seen is they don't have a go-to guy outside of Şengün, which is unsurprising. Şengün was the MVP of the Turkish League for a reason at 18 years old. So the fact that he showed up in this big moment, he's been doing big moments for many years. The guys around him still very clearly new to it. Jalen Green especially, I don't know if I see a future for him in the Rockets at the moment. I still think he's a very talented player, but the Rockets looked for him and gave him looks and opportunities to try to attack Steph off the dribble, tried to beat Draymond in the mid to create his own shot in the mid-range. Continuously did not work. He's shown that in a playoff setting, he's not really able to elevate his game or the people around him. I will add the asterisk and say yet he's still a young player, so maybe in the future he can. And they are asking a lot of him against a team that is very experienced and very talented in the Golden State Warriors. But at the end of the day, it's the playoffs. It just comes down to can he perform. And right now, the Rockets are suffering because he's not.
I mean,
yeah, and mind you, like all of
field, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up from here. It has to be up from here, or it gets worse. It's either like he's either gonna be significantly better in the next few games, or he's just gonna somehow get worse. Like there's no in between. Like you can't be shooting 20% from the field consistently. I mean, Fred VanVleet shot 20%, 21%. Dylan Brooks, the bear poker himself, shot 33% from field. Like I just think. And also, like, this Warriors team isn't a great defensive team. And the fact that the game was relatively close, I think this is also a very young team that hasn't had a whole lot of success in playoffs. I think we'll have to see how the series works out. Because, I mean, Jimmy Butler had, like, a Herculean performance. So did Steph. So we'll have to see if they can manage that. Because the Warriors aren't a great basketball team. They have, like, two amazing players. And then Draymond, who is going to assault you. And play great defense and be a good ball handler.
Low key, quiet as kept. Yeah. Quinn Post is showing up for them.
Quiet as kept. I mean, I think he was negative on this last game on his.
He was +4.
Was he?
He was +4. Okay. +4 for the game.
Because
Gary Payton's son needs to be disowned. He's -10.
Man. Well, speaking of
I'm just playing.
At least for me. Oh, go for it.
Oh, no. Wrap it up, Uriel.
I was just going to say, like, I know these are all our hot takes after, like, one game. At least for me, I'm seeing a path forward where you package something with Jalen Green and pop a Fred VanVleet and get a legitimate ball handler because the Rockets, their inexperience showed they lost a turnover battle. Mind you, this is the Warriors. They're already a turnover-prone team, and you can't be losing the rock like that. So
Yeah.
you get a legitimate playmaker. There's a few guys that might be on the market, like Trae Young, some other folks that might be looking for a new team, and I think you can have a solid
Trae Young
foundation
would
there.
Fire.
Trae
It
Young
would.
would be a ridiculous
But, like,
pickup for him.
Isn't
But,
Jalen
you
Green
know.
good on defense? Because I think you would need a perimeter defender. I mean, I don't know if
Dylan
Dylan Brooks
Thompson,
is.
bro. Like they have a
Well,
lot of size.
they
Like
have
Tari
I mean, he's
Dyson
really
Daniels.
good. So
They
is
have
Dylan Brooks. You know
million
what? Y'all
folks.
right. My fault.
Yeah,
My
now they
fault.
got a lot of folks. Package some of these inefficient players that ain't gonna really be part of
And
the
then you
core.
would get
See what happens.
You would get consistent scoring because Trae Young has been really good in the playoffs. He's
That's
just
all
too
they
small.
need.
And I
That's
mean, if
all
he
they
gets
need.
to be a number 2 behind old boy, and then like you get him in to start to develop and have somebody that can help create for him, and obviously you have other guys. I mean,
They're going to
and
keep
you got
one of
perimeter
Reed Shepard or
defenders.
Cam Whitmore.
Yeah, hey, I'm rocking with it. Cook with it.
Yeah,
I ain't
but
mad at
that being said, that's the future. What do y'all think about this current series? Who y'all got?
Ooh. I mean, unless Jalen Green comes to play, I just don't see them winning because I think they need a number 2. And Amin Thompson isn't there offensively yet. The rest of like Dylan Brooks is not an offensive star. He needs to be able to focus on defense. Fred VanVleet is old, and he's just. I mean, he's a role player. You can't rely on him to be your number 2. I mean, I think they could win this series just because they're younger and probably have a little bit more talent from top to bottom. I mean, if you go through their start like top 7, I think they're just better, but I think the top 2 players are significantly better.
Significantly. They have 2.
I mean, Sengun
legit
is close to
followers.
Jimmy. I would just in terms of him being younger and able to be good in the moment. But I think it's a gap beyond like the number 1 and number 2.
So all that to say, Warriors in 4.
Not in 4. I think it goes like 6. I think it goes like 6.
I got Dubs in 6.
Same.
Yeah, I don't think.
that was
I think this Rockets team is going to manage to win 2 games. Sengun is going to win 1. He's just going to have to go fucking crazy.
Yeah,
And then
Draymond's
if-
gonna get ejected at some point. Like
Yeah, Draymond going to give somebody like 3 going to give somebody like 30 free throws off text alone.
close like to the neck.
Absolutely. He gonna drop kick somebody. All right, we gotta get to
Yeah,
these
speaking
other
of
games.
drop kick, man, we saw somebody get drop kicked. We saw a team that got hit, shut jive, tried to stay alive. How the hell did people think it was gonna be Lakers in 5? That's what I'm trying to find out, bro.
Let him cook.
Find out, man.
Cooking.
I've been trying to
Sharp,
tell
get the
y'all
heck out the
whole
way. We got Sir
season.
Chadwick in the house.
I've been trying to tell y'all the whole season. Salute to Luka and LeBron. They are gonna be a long term. The Lakers are set. I am worried about the Lakers. Like they could still win this series. They could still win the finals. But over and over again, it had been brought up the lack of size and the lack of a strong front court was going to be a problem of the LA Lakers. And I've always doubted why didn't nobody think of the Timberwolves as a serious matchup problem. They have Julius Randle, Naz Reid, Gobert, McDaniels. All 3 or 4 of them. All 3 or 4 of them are about the size of what Jackson Hayes, their starting center. Vando.
Jackson Hayes didn't even really play him, bro. He's like a side piece.
it's madness. I think what's
and it
crazy about the
showed.
Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies could easily come out of the West if they just get the right matchups. I think like last year, had they played anybody but the Mavericks, I think they make it to the finals. I think they could go toe to toe with Boston. I just think that could. Like, I just think it was purely a matchup thing, and we'll have to see how much of because Austin Reeves wasn't very good. It was a no-show for the first like 3 quarters basically. He had like 3 points in the first half. I think LeBron, this is the feel-out game, and historically LeBron will sometimes lose a game too and still be like at worst 50% for winning the series. I think he was clearly trying to figure out what it would take to beat this team. I mean, like if you lose to LeBron in game 1 of a series, you're just gonna lose. Like he's lost 1 series where he won game 1 in his entire career. So I mean, obviously that gives him a much better chance of winning the series. And I think Luka and LeBron need to figure it the fuck out, because the first half it felt like LeBron was, or the first quarter at least, LeBron was like literally, Luka, figure it the fuck out, dog. Let's see what you can do. Like that's what I got.
2 in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean he was not aggressive. He was really. I think they're gonna have to get more into when they were really really great, is when they were just like passing a rocket away that like it was hard. It was impossible to stop. I think we'll see what happens in game 2. I think they win game 2, and I think they could probably do it handily. Just off of like LeBron and Luka being like, yeah, we're not going to go down 0-2 at home. I think they're still the 2 best players in this series. I think Ann is close with LeBron, but like to your point, Chad, I think the fact that the Lakers don't really like the fact that of their best 3 players, the best defender is probably still LeBron James is not a good sign. Because when your best 3 players are, when the best of your defenders of your top 3 players is a 40-year-old man, he's still a really good defender when he decides to be right now. But he's not wasting his stamina bar. Like you don't have a 99 stamina stat no more. You can't waste the stamina bar on like playing defense. You need to have other guys. So we'll have to see. And also, and I think that there's a lot of variance with that first game because like the Grizzlies could not miss a shot.
Yeah,
the
Timberwolves
shot 50% from 3. Yeah,
they were shooting like 60 at one point because they pulled their starters with like 6 minutes because everybody the Lakers
they're
gave
just
up.
chucking up shots at the end. Yeah,
they were just like their real percentage is like 60 something from 3 and like 60 something from overall field goal percentage. That's not real. That's just not going to happen every single game, right? Like they were hitting heat check shots. And these aren't even. I'm not even talking about Anthony Edwards. I'm talking about like
McDaniels was a bucket.
McDaniels. What's his name?
Nasrid.
Nasrid.
Nasrid was going crazy.
Could not. Yeah. These are role players. They're obviously really good basketball players, but like they're not supposed to be the ones scoring 30 points. Like both of them damn near had 30. You're just not going to get that every game, unless the defense of the perimeter is that bad for the Lakers that they're going to give that up. That could be a thing because they were getting their ass kicked on the boards. At least it felt like it.
It was true. Like Gobert was in foul trouble, was in and out of the game the entire time, and still got almost 20 rebounds.
Yeah, I think they're gonna need to experiment with their lineup. I trust JJ Redick. I think but I mean, like in a game like that when they're just hitting everything, you're not gonna win that game. You're just not. Yeah. Like if you had LeBron from 6 years ago, you probably win that game just because he's better. He's that much better than everybody else. But like 40-year-old LeBron and then Luka, who physically can't play elite defense, you're not gonna win.
I would say, just in defense of Doncic, like looking at it play by play, he actually did pretty good at contesting it.
No, he did good. They just made everything.
Yeah, that's part of it, right? Shooting 50% from 3 is unsustainable for the series, but I don't know how many more adjustments you can really make. Because like going back to like Chadwick's point about like Jackson Hayes, he's their biggest body. He played 8 minutes, scored a single point in this entire game. Right? Like, what's your actual response to have these big boys over at with Minnesota, Nasrid, Rudy, Julius Randle? Like, what, you're gonna go with LeBron at center, like, and
Alex
then go
Lynn.
super small? Like, those are not solutions. You know, so I'm actually quite concerned for the immediacy. Long term, fine, whatever. You're gonna go get a center. It's fine. The Mark Williams trade fell through. You have a lot of options to play with it. But like today in this series, I honestly think it's gonna be Timberwolves in 5.
Yeah, I might have to go. It's tough for me because the Luka LeBron duo is phenomenal, and we're able to see how talented it is, and even in moments how effective it can be against the Timberwolves. But the challenge to me is still just like I keep on going on and on about. It's just the defense, and one of the things that people are avoiding to talk about is the Lakers do not have the personnel that the Mavs did to hide Luka on defense, and it shows. No. Something that a lot of analysts, because of his popularity, do not like talking about is in multiple playoff series, in the last 3 of them Mavs have been on, Luka has been hunted on defense. Their entire championship run, he was hunted on defense. The run when they beat the run before when they beat the the Clippers that year, they also hunted him on defense. Yeah. He's been hunted on defense consistently, and it worked for the Timberwolves. One of the reasons you started seeing him fall off later on in the game was just conditioning. They made him work in every single play. So when he tried to do it on offense, he wasn't able to create on his own. If LeBron's not out there and AR is being inconsistent, now you don't have this high octane offense. And it looks like the secret to it is just attacking your player. And this is something that has been brought up time and time again, but the Mavs were able to have the Gafford, the Liveleys, PJ Washington, a bunch of big bodies behind Luka to hide him on defense, high IQ people like Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving to, again, hide him on defense. And the Lakers don't have that personnel. It looks like they are exploiting that. And as much as people have compared him to James Harden before, I'm going to say it because it happened in his run when he played with the Rockets, his conditioning is better. They attacked him on defense as well in the Rockets teams, and he was still able to provide the offense for it. As much as there's these playoff woes or this reputation of playoff dropping, I'm seeing Luka drop an efficient 30 and give up 60.
Yep.
But we're going to say, oh, it's not a problem, Lakers in 5. All that being said, it's game 1. Anything can happen. I think Timberwolves have a real advantage, and we didn't even mention the fact that they have Anthony Edwards and no rim protectors. So it's hard for me. I think the Timberwolves were one of their worst matchups. I would agree with you, Uriel and Dubrea, that it just comes down to matchups this playoff series, and the Lakers drew their absolute worst matchup. I'm going to give it to Wolves in 6, tentatively. That being said, it's still LeBron, so I might have to eat my words and they win in 5. So anything can happen.
You know, wouldn't be surprised, but I think it's going to be Lakers out in 5.
Hey, speaking of outs in LA, it looks like the fate of the LA team might come down to the Clippers versus the Nuggets. Uriel, as our resident Clippers fan, what do you got to tell us?
Man, I know nothing but pain.
Boy, bro, when you pulled that jersey, look, Kawhi got hurt. When you stretched that jersey, he fucked up something in his knee.
Sir, I am excited. I'm going to go see this team live on Thursday, actually, with the crew. You know, but we know who really run LA. At least while they are not in physical therapy. So,
Y'all got your stadium.
I'm actually
got a stadium for the first time. Now y'all talk about you run LA. Keep going. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Y'all get one stadium and now y'all run the city.
We get one loss in an overtime playoff game, and I am very optimistic for the rest of this series. I think
don't get up 3-1. That's all I'll say. That's all.
Let him finish.
Sorry, my fault.
We have one Clippers
I'm gonna make
fan.
myself. My bad. I'm a bad person.
The only one we know.
You know, it's justified. I have been in extreme pain since 2019 because I have followed Kawhi Leonard, and I am actually excited. He might hurt me again, but the way I'm seeing this, I think there's a lot of adjustments that the Clippers can make. Put a little less Chris Dunn in there, be a little more protective of the rock. We had 20 turnovers. That's not ideal, but I have seen them play better. And quite frankly, the Nuggets, I'm not too scared of them. Like, Michael Porter Jr. was played off the floor. They're relying heavily on Russell Westbrook. I like him. He's a high-energy guy. But there were some wild plays with Russ where he's making some bad decisions, and you really trust him to make his threes in a series like this. We were leaving him wide open. So I'm going to put my bet in that, and Clips in 6.
Fair enough. All right. I mean, we can go on to the I don't really have much.
We'll go on to the East. Can't necessarily disagree with that breakdown. The Eastern one, thankful, I don't know if I'll say thankfully, interestingly enough, hasn't been too it's been having some very I don't want to say stinkers, but belt was put to ass. We'll start with the Milwaukee Bucks, who are waiting on Damian Lillard to come back from what was a blood clot that kept him out of the end of the NBA season and now has kept him out of the playoffs. Rumor is he may come and play in game 2 or 3 of the series, which they will need. They being the Bucks, double checking right now, their game 1 was a little rough with the Pacers winning by 117 and the Bucks by 98, so a little over 20, almost 30-point loss. And if you watch the game, it was worse. Pacers had the home court advantage. They wore all their matching shirts. They goated out the arena. Caitlin Clark was there, her entourage, so they put on for Indiana. And this rivalry for the Bucks
and Pacers need Caitlin Clark out there at this rate.
They really might. She's gonna do a lot more than what anyone else was doing. Get Giannis some help. There's no notes for Giannis.
Chris Middleton isn't enough. The corpse of Chris Middleton is no longer.
You're telling me getting 15 points from AJ Green is as your second leading scorer isn't enough? And poor Chris Middleton.
It was
Washington. It's real sad, you know.
God damn it, Bucks brass! You literally all you need to do is do anything but get rid of Drew Holiday. Anything but get rid of Drew Holiday.
Hey,
we wouldn't be here. Y'all could have probably won back to back.
It happened.
Could have won back to back.
I think we can just skip to the decision for it. I'm gonna say without Dame, I'm saying Pacers in 5. I do believe Giannis is top 3 in the world minimum. So they're gonna leave with something. Like they're gonna leave with at least one or two.
I think he can get him 2. I go Pacers in 6. I think he can get him 2.
Fair.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
But if Dame
Pascal
comes back,
Siakam is also
If Lillard comes back, I can see it too. If Lillard comes back,
I'll say Bucks in 7. But without him, Pacers. I'll say
It
Pacers.
depends
in
on
6,
when he
out
comes
of
back, though.
Respect for Giannis.
It depends on when he comes back. Also, Halliburton,
Put some
the
respect.
powers
on
of the
his
Black
name, man.
Panther have been granted back.
I've been saying, bro, when the Kings drafted him, I said the best thing they can do is keep him. They didn't.
Yeah.
I had him on my
Hey.
fantasy league. He was a blessing this year, you know.
He's immune to the
Um,
snow now. I think that's the biggest improvement in his game.
Yeah,
They can
keeping
intentionally
with
get
the
some great fans. I think it's gonna be Bucks in 6. Best case scenario, most likely. I mean, sorry, Pacers. Pacers are gonna win in 6. Best case scenario, if Lillard comes, most likely they're gonna win in 5. Like I don't see this getting any better for them, and ultimately, I think Giannis is gonna be asking for a trade at the end of this.
Not surprising.
All right.
Another
2-7.
short one. Celtics Magic. We'll just cut to it. Celtics in 4.
Yeah.
Come
Wait,
on. Now.
actually, Celtics in 5. Tatum mussed up his wrist. Celtics
Who
in
did?
5.
I did see that play.
Tatum
I saw that
did.
play.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Celtics in 5.
I thought there was like no structural damage.
That means he'll
Oh.
come back after the series if there's no structural damage.
Risk asterisk. Trish.
Yeah.
Celtics in 5. Move on.
All right. Celtics in 5.
Yeah.
Not many notes. The Magic team is great future ahead of them. Great
They
season.
keep losing that one guy. What's his name? Poblano.
Paolo had got hurt, and then
Paolo?
Franz got hurt. They
If
had
he
a
could
really
just stay
bad
healthy,
luck
they'd be a
injuries.
really good basketball team. If
Yeah,
you
they just
stay
got a bad
healthy.
matchup. Like if they were healthier, they would have gone like a 4-5 matchup. It would have been a lot
Mhm.
better.
Yeah, they
All
likely would have been the ones playing the Pacers because they were on pace to have like around a 50-win season. They probably would have gotten the seeding to play the Pacers first round, which is a completely different matchup.
100%.
Playing the Celtics, they're just not a good enough team.
They're not
They'll
there
be
yet.
lucky
They're
to
like
win
that.
4 years out.
Speaking of not being a good enough team, the Miami Heat. Like Cavs and foe.
Yeah. Shout out to the Heat, but they don't got Jimmy no more. Cavs in 4.
It
gotta
wouldn't matter
give
if they
it to
had Jimmy.
Cavs
Cavs
in
and
4.
foe.
And another one.
Jimmy's
the
there. It's a
best
5-game series. Yeah.
Best series in the East right now, Pistons Knicks. I got Knicks in 5. That being said, it's going to be a very close and very entertaining 5. The Knicks were able to lead a about 30-point comeback in the third to fourth quarter, a 30-point swing, where
Crazy.
pulse pounding. It would be crazy if you looked at the numbers, but if you watch the game, it just really comes down to experience. The lights got bright, and you could tell the Pistons were not ready to have an entire stadium of screaming, cheering Knicks fans, and were not ready for how nitty and gritty the playoffs could get. Once that third quarter swing happened, I don't know what speech Thibodeau gave that team, but they came out with a purpose. They were sharing the ball. Everyone was involved. Everyone was shooting. They made sure to give the matchups that Jalen Brunson needed. No mistakes, no complaining about refs, just purely locking in. Even when the Pistons try to be muddy and try to get physical, they said, screw it, we're going to do the same thing. We bigger than y'all. And they very simply put little bro the Pistons. Would definitely recommend the series. Exciting. I would give the Pistons at least 1 or 2 games because they are a very talented team. They are not the Pistons that went on that loss streak anymore. But
They're very similar,
Knicks
though, which is crazy.
are battle tested.
Like, I mean, it was injury. It was part in injuries and part coaching. But honestly, the real winner in all this, Detroit Pistons fans.
Yes.
Their team went from being one of the worst teams imaginable last year, and they're in the fucking playoffs. And they deserve
Just
to
happy
be
to be here.
Shout out to
Deserve
the Pistons, man.
Yeah. Truly
Shaq,
shout out to the Pistons.
if you actually watch the games, you would know that's a good basketball team. But
this season, yes. Salute to K.
Yeah.
Salute to all of them. This season,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
killing it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he just needs an actual like second option because otherwise, he's like the big snake, head on the edge of the snake, and yeah.
Yeah. You
Get
gotta give them
chopped
time though. They went from the worst team to a playoff team with more or less the same roster, just new coaching, development, better mindset.
Unless
So-
injuries.
Yeah, less
Jalen
injuries.
There was a
promising.
lot of Cade Cunningham was injured a lot of the season last year, and then like when he was in, their other best player, I forget his name, was injured
Ivy
a lot.
got hurt a lot too.
Ivy was hurt, so like they were never on the
I think
court
Tobias
together.
Harris got hurt too, and he's their vet.
Tobias Harris was in and out. Yeah.
Tobias Harris is stealing money. He's
He's
obviously still
been good
He
for the
actually
Pistons.
played pretty good this
He's
this
been
game.
good for the Pistons, man. Put some respect on
That's
him.
fine. That's fine. He's still stealing money.
Well, speaking of
I'm still
stealing
mad at the
money, I think that
76ers.
kind of
Okay,
yeah.
Jimmy Butler.
wraps up our sports takes. Y'all tune into the NBA playoffs when you can. It's going to be an exciting one. There's a few skippable games, but hey, lock in, y'all. Speaking of people stealing money on a more serious note, what is with this Harvard versus Trump thing? Is it because he didn't get admitted? Like, I get beefing with a school because he didn't get admitted. There's a long list of schools that I might have some issues with because of that. Like, spend a lot of time on that personal statement. Or is it because he's trying to find out if DEI is hiding in the bushes of Harvard? Dubrea, like, what's going on there?
He's just continuously exploring the bounds of his own power at every and any opportunity. I mean, he's doing it with immigration. He's doing it in every way, shape, or form. He's seeing how powerful he is, and every single time somebody tells him yes, he's just adding it to his list. This doesn't matter, right? I mean, this isn't real. None of this is legal. They can't dictate to universities what they can do. They haven't passed any law. They haven't done anything to put anything in the statute. He can't control the way that funding is used. Like, that's Congress's job. He hasn't done anything to dictate where funding should be allocated to, how it can be allocated. He can't do any of this shit. And I think people just aren't calling his bluff enough. Obviously, he's defying the Supreme Court, and he should be impeached on the basis of that alone, because we are constantly finding ourselves in a multitude of constitutional crises. This is just another example of somebody being like, wait a minute, he can't do that shit. Why are we folding to this guy? Like, that's literally all this is. It's cut and dry. He is trying to be a demagogue, and he's only a demagogue if we allow him to be.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's trying to disappear people, but
Facts.
Yeah. So far, looks like Harvard buckled in and said, we're not. I know, Uriel, you are our resident legal expert at the moment. So what's going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, Dubrea was touching on it in part, right? But it's crazy because there's like well-established laws, rules, and procedures they got to do any of this, and they just said, "F all
Fuck
that,"
it.
you know? Like, Congress legitimately already gave the money to the agencies. Those agencies then gave grants. Harvard was selected. They're doing research. They have a lot of like long-standing obligations. And then this guy, without no notice, no hearing, no negotiation or conversation about any potential violation, they have to establish there's a violation. And this guy just says across the board, like, it's DEI, it's anti-Semitism, and just like, no, mind you, no evidence, and then just halts the funding, right? Like, that is just blatantly illegal. And it's crazy because like literally today on April 21st, like Harvard started suing Trump back. So like this is like the first time that we're seeing one of these like big institutions affirmatively fight back against the Trump administration on these like wild cuts. And like when you look at the list of 11 things that they demanded from the university, some of these are wild, bro. Like they actually wanted like a form of MAGA affirmative action. So if you look at it, they say like, first of all, cancel all DEI programs in any way, shape, or form. You also have to
kick out all black people. That's what that means.
Part of it, but they also just straight up don't even want to like let you in. They also said get rid of all like preferential treatment on admission based off of like gender, race, nationality, religion. But then if you look at like one of the next following paragraphs, they literally start this like new process that I've never heard about called viewpoint diversity. Like they literally want to go department by department, field by field, admission by admission to say you need both sides of this. We can't just have one point explained in a department. Like for example, in the climate change discussion, we can't just have scientists affirmatively saying, one side of this issue. We got to have people on the other side. Diversity of opinion.
We need people to live in their basement that think the world is flat, think the earth is flat.
In short, right? Like when you read that, like no school has ever had this as an affirmative policy of saying, hey, we need to affirmatively increase diversity of thoughts to make sure that we have different political beliefs. Like we need enough MAGA people in there. I need a safe space for MAGA people to be admitted. Like it is just a crazy preposterous standard. And they're also calling for like defunding of certain student groups. Like the National Lawyers Guild, the Students for Palestine, like just a bunch. Like if you just look through the list, it is preposterous. I'm actually really like surprised more schools aren't challenging it. I know that UCLA, where I'm at right now, and other schools are currently being investigated, but do expect more challenges to come and expect more else to come.
Yeah, I mean, the when they're talking about including like viewpoint diversity, they're really just doing DEI for illiterate people, illiterate media literacy.
It's DEI for MAGA.
DEI for dumbasses. That's the
It's McCarthyism all over again, man.
yeah. That's the real answer.
Use the old dust off the old terms. It's McCarthyism. They're targeting educational institutions to try to put in people that match their ideology, and Trump is trying to see if the president has enough power to strong arm universities into doing so. I agree with you, Rio. I'm very happy to see a legal battle for it, as separation of powers goes far beyond just the three branches of government. We don't really want academia to be controlled by the government. This was a discussion that's happened decades ago, multiple times in American history and global history, where, yeah, as much as we do want public institutions, the people across the world have consistently decided they don't always want the government involved in every form of higher education. We have
Or
media should be propaganda, yeah.
Or we understand it's a separation of power for the sole reason of we wouldn't want the sole reason of what MAGA is saying that, oh, blah blah blah, these universities are quote unquote radicalizing people with thought. Well, why would you want to do the same thing? The whole point is they're just there to educate, create global leaders, and do their jobs as subject matter experts.
Yep. I mean, it's the same thing. You want to separate the government from your media, from your news. You want to have a free press. We don't really have much of that anymore, just because it's all been bought up by billionaires. But we also want to have, or at least most large
major
media.
Publications, right?
Major publications, major media. Obviously, you want to have a separation of religion, because it's just not a good idea.
With that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good idea. We also want to have a separation of our education system, because people need to learn things, and the government doesn't always want you to learn things. I mean, we've already lost a lot of ground there, just because the United States government is a propaganda machine, always has been. Unfortunately, it looks like it may always be. But we'll have to see, man. Hopefully, we can be a little bit more anti-propaganda or counter-propaganda.
We will see, and I am, at least in this regard, very optimistic about it. Historically, education institutions have been very strong in maintaining their ability to educate the population, all the way down to county workers, all the way up to higher education officials. People that work in education are very passionate about their field and passionate about teaching new generations, and they're not the type of people to fold. You got teachers making $30,000 a year or less, not making enough of a living wage, and still working 8, 10, 12 hours. So the type of person to be involved in these things are the type of people to be passionate enough to defend it. So looking forward to
I'm not going to say that Harvard is like the beacon of working class solidarity, or the or a big champion of a lot of the issues that I care about. But I will say, like, if you're going to look at an institution that historically has the resources to push back on some of these like illegal power grabs, it's going to be Harvard. They have billions upon billions. I think it's like $1 billion, 50 billion endowment. They have incredibly powerful alumni. I don't think folks like them want to just like hand over the reins to a tyrannical government, without them going down with a fight, right? So I think in a weird interest alignment, we actually have like some strong allies in this. I'm just concerned about like long-term repercussions, because they are halting like really critical operations and funding for like research, relating to like cancer, Parkinson's, and there's a lot of innocent like folks that are going to lose their jobs in the meantime, or get a pause, and
we're going to lose all those results.
I know there's been like 20-year longitudinal studies that are going to be impacted, right? So like, and I know for folks that don't read or can't read, that doesn't matter much to them, but I will say that is how we progress as a society. So I wish we could do better, but oddly enough, Harvard to the rescue, I guess.
Hey, hopefully, wishing them the best of luck. I feel like we're in a very big moment again, as always, in a transitory period. Speaking of one of the big transitions, we've recently had Pope Francis pass, leader of the Catholic Church for many years, a cultural icon, religious leader, and beacon of new ideas and thought in the church, being labeled as one of, if not the most progressive pope in modern history, had inducted a little over 100 new cardinals across the world with the effort of spreading Catholicism in a way that could reach local communities, focusing on things such as diversity, ties to local communities, openness to responding to the times of modern times of technology and such. Very much choosing a papacy that focused on the long-term future of the Catholic Church. Whether you are someone who is religious or Catholic, this is someone who is who's influenced in the world, in the shakings and movements of the world, and one of the largest religious institutions of the world and of all time, is a legacy that we'll have to look back on. So rest in peace to the Pope, and I wish the Catholic Church the best luck in choosing their next successor. Uriel, you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, thanks for raising that, Chadwick. Rest in peace, obviously, to Pope Francis. He was the first Latin American Pope ever, to spearhead the church. I grew up in a very Catholic household. I mean, my dad was in the reenactment this weekend, for on Friday. Like, the church actually has a huge implication. It has over like 1 billion members worldwide, right? So I think people may underscore the importance of it, given the current decline in membership and growth that it has. But let us not forget, there's still a huge global impact on matters. His last public address was talking about a ceasefire in Gaza. He actively would criticize folks for not welcoming immigrant refugees. He personally would wash the feet of refugees. Was also criticizing corporations for their lack of accountability for climate change. This guy was a leader on so many important fronts. And at least for me, I'm concerned about the potential void this will leave in such a powerful institution, because we have such a distrust in institutions. I mean, we've been talking about it earlier, right? It's who really is going to trust Harvard or big mainstream media, right? And now when you have a beloved, popular, and progressive leader like this, what's the change, right? So at least for me, it's we mourn, but we also have to be real intentional with how we elect someone else, right? And you just got to remember the positive legacy and try to remember, hey, remember, Jesus was he was unhoused. He didn't have a job. He was a big proponent of social welfare and helping thy neighbor, right? So I try to keep those teachings alive.
Yeah, I mean, Republicans today would literally say he should have just followed the law. If Jesus popped up in the way that he is stated to be in the Bible or described to be, they would not want to let him in the country, first of all. And they would try to deport him if he was in the country. So I'm not religious. I'm generally not pro-religion, but it's very funny watching the hypocrisy. Also, do got to give respect to Pope Francis. He was the best pope of my lifetime. Obviously, I haven't been along that long, but when you're more progressive,
54, bro.
I'm 65. Get it right, man.
Hey, you're eligible for Medicare. Let's go.
Hey, man,
we don't have that anymore. They cut me. Apparently, I'm one of the people that's 600 years old. But no, literally, he was somehow more progressive than the Democratic candidate for president in 2024, and the previous president from 2020 to 2024, which is crazy work. I did not think that'd be possible. It's a great thing for being the Pope. Very, very bad look for the president and presidential candidate for the Democratic Party of the United States. I think we need more people like him. We need more people like him in positions of power. Obviously, I probably wouldn't go by verse by verse or position by position and agree with him. But he was trying his very best to be on the right side of history and to lead the institution that he was in charge of in the right direction. I mean, he literally was smoking the bums in office right now, especially that bum J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance saw him 4 hours before he died
and got cooked.
Putting that out there.
Yeah.
Just saying that out there.
Just saying, I'm not calling him the Antichrist. I'm just saying we haven't seen J.D. Vance the Antichrist in the same room.
Yeah, and I haven't seen him say thank you in a very long time.
I haven't.
I didn't hear him say thank you.
I didn't hear him say thank you.
Yeah, but all jokes aside, of course, yeah, rest in peace to the Pope. This is someone whose leadership in the general theology of the church and Christianity in Christianity went far beyond the church, brought up and used his position to bring up very tough conversations that, being someone who also grew up in the church, that oftentimes weren't brought up. I did love his speeches over simple things like, I hope that hell is empty, especially being someone who has gone to churches that have a very strong doctrine about that, and going to churches that didn't growing up, seeing both sides of that. And I was glad that, okay, we have one of the biggest leaders in the religion saying, like, let's not hope for people to go somewhere bad. Let's, uplift them. Let's share these things.
Better than me. I want all Republicans in hell. It
I
don't
kinda-
exist. I don't believe it
I'm
exists.
definitely with the Pope. I hope hell is empty.
I'm gonna still love my neighbor, but
Yeah,
I
still-
do think
They're not my
accountability is in order. I think accountability should be in order.
They don't live nearby me. They wouldn't want to
Hey
live next to a
man,
black person.
wash feet, all souls can be saved. I mean, hey, that's
People.
part of my
I don't
belief.
think. Yeah, sometimes the problems aren't people, but
People, not corporations.
people, not
Corporations are people now.
not to me.
Legally speaking, we can change
Oh
some
my
sorry
God.
decisives.
If Trump cannot give a fuck about the law, I cannot give a fuck about that legal determination.
So, any
All right.
final thoughts about the papacy, y'all? Well,
Descanse en
in
paz,
peace.
el Papa
Yeah.
Francisco.
Rest in peace. I know the funeral processions have already started. I did not grow up Catholic, so I'm not an expert in all the funeral processions, but I know they've begun now with, I know they're going to do a showing of the body, I believe. Then there is, of course, the general processions and eventual burial of the former pope before they begin the elections for the next pope. Wish the Catholic Church and Catholics around the world the best of luck in the next steps, and I'm very curious to see what direction they go.
Yep. And speaking
But-
of burning, you got to get to let them go.
Yes. So this will be our let them cook. I feel like we've been talking about some a little more serious topics, so bring it up, a little spirits up. I was just wondering, what's something you would say that you're proud of? Let's stick with 2025. Y'all still doing your New Year's resolution? Anything happened that y'all are like, oh my gosh, I did that?
I paid off my car.
Oh snap!
And I put a down payment on I put a down payment for the procedure to make sure it's land and sea usable. Shout out to Kenny.
Okay, that's cool, man. Shout out, man. Shout out to the finances. Oh yeah, what you got?
I'm proud of y'all. It feels like, we're at a critical inflection point, but I'm always amazed at the awesome work that y'all doing. Personally, I'm actually really hyped. I'm gonna graduate from law school in like 3 weeks, so hasn't happened yet, but it's been a long time coming. So I'm real hyped to finally go out and use my legal degree and fight for some folks.
That is exciting work, man.
Killing it.
Yeah, I don't think I have. I am studying to go to school, so I haven't completely quit studying yet. So I'm proud of myself for that. Did I think about it? Who doesn't? But I'm proud of myself for sticking to it so far. I feel like it's opening up for a new step in my career path in the future. It's nice. It's nice to have a long-term switch or goal in mind. Of course, if I hit the lottery before then or get an offer I can't refuse, then I'm taking it. You never know. Someone might like Nico Harrison might get fired. I could be a GM.
I mean, if he can be a GM, anybody can be. And
I'm
The
just
bar
honestly,
is
Chad,
low.
King's
Yeah,
GM got
Chad.
fired, bro. Let me be a GM for the team. My
Amen.
fantasy team made the playoffs. I can get y'all I can do that at least.
Fair enough.
I mean, if we going off a fantasy league record, shoot, put me in, coach. Dang.
Hey,
Man, disappointing
ain't mad
season
at
for
it.
you this year. I'm just saying, I had 6 injuries.
Bro, same. I had like 2 of my top 3 players like injured, like literally like LaMelo Ball, my 2nd round pick, my 3rd round pick, De'Aaron Fox. Like I was number 1 in my standings, and then it's rug pulled out under.
Bro, I was in
last
2
week.
different leagues, and both of the players, both like the first and second players I drafted, were both out for very long stretches of the season. I was cooked. I literally had Luka. I drafted Luka. I got him early, and then won one league, and he was hurt most of the year.
Yeah.
Or not playing great. And then I had Victor Wembanyama in another league, and he just had to miss the entire season. But I mean, speaking of things to be proud of, there's always next year, and I still probably did a better job than Nico Harrison at being a GM. Everybody, make sure you are taking care of yourself. You always got something to be proud of. You showed up today. You probably did a little bit better than you did the day before. And sometimes it just takes betting on yourself. So we'll see. We'll see y'all next week on the next episode of the Loud Minorities Podcast. Hopefully we'll be able to have Kenny with us soon. Shout out to him.
Free Kenny.
He's in the mines right now. He is in the mines grinding, but he's doing it for trenches. So,
bro, he's on an anime training arc.
Yes, he's in an anime character development arc. Like he's keeping cooked. But
the question is this a 2-year time skip or is this just a Hosher training arc?
I hope it's not a 2-year time skip.
2 years is crazy. 2 years
I haven't seen dude in forever.
Hey man, I one time I saw him, I was like, man, are you okay?
Keep this man twice if the legislature is treating you well.
Hey, bro, I was like, keep this man away from stools and belts. I was like, Jesus, he's not okay.
Bro, it's working. I remember I hit him up in the group chat. I didn't get a response for like 3 days later. I was like, damn, bro. I know I'm not
public service with respect.
What type of grind are you on? Like,
right, I'm like 3 days. He gave me, well, in his defense, he gave me a thumbs up. I'm like, that don't count.
Words, are you alive?
Like a couple days later, oh, XYZ. I'm like, I don't even remember what I messaged you for, to be honest.
Yeah. You text him, are you alive? You get a question mark emoji with like the weird thing like this. You're like, I don't know. I'll find out. I'll let you know at the end of the week if my bill gets out of committee. But
yeah, you can text him directly, and then he'll hit the group chat, and it's like, no.
Yeah. He's like, I can't afford to use this energy to let only one person know. I gotta let the
one person. It's just like that's crazy work, man. But free to bro. He's working to make the world a better place. But yeah, man. Thank you all for listening. As always, we are the Loud Minorities Podcast. ODL, Dubrea, Chadwick, and when he's available, Kenny. And thank you for spending some time with us, y'all. We look forward to spending more time with you in the future. We talk about everything from sports, political events, and other breaking news. So till next time.
Podcasts, if they suck. Peace out.